So I got hired from a company called AdSmith, and my buddy Joe actually works there, and that's how I got this gig. They were in need of a sound person for this job because there was like a few dialogue in each scene, so they needed someone to kind of be dedicated on that. So he brought me into the picture to kind of capture the sound to make sure it sounded good and everything correctly. And this gig was actually the first gig I get to use my new boom pole on it, and I do kind of like it a little more since I guess it's graphite, carbon fiber graphite, just that thing. Uh, you can hear the internal coils a little bit better. I feel like compared to the aluminum pole I had from the last K Tech pole I had. So there's kind of that. So yeah, it's kind of a mix up. You get a lighter pole, but then you kind of also can hear things a little more too. Like you can hear your hands move on the boom pole and stuff. So yeah, they are running the Pocket 4K, so I was able to run time code, and that's just kind of I just kind of wanted to do it just because we can, and I kind of try to run time code as much as I can these days, just because I do wish every camera can run time code. The fact that Blackmagic is able to run time code through the audio is amazing, and every camera should legitimately have that. But I kind of served more than just a sound guy. I kind of helped him, set up lights and a little bit too, just because like it's just me, him, and another person that works for the company. So and he knows that I know my stuff, so he just kind of said, "Let's grab this and do that." I was like, "Okay." I just grabbed it and we did it. So it was easy going. Ironically, I tend to overbook myself a little more than I would like to. It happens way too often for me, but I tend to manage my days properly. In this case, I kind of booked a gig uh, while booking another gig. So this gig, he asked me about these dates, and I said they were free. And then there's a short film that I'm gonna be a part of. I'm gonna gaff for them, and that kind of overlapped a little bit on the second day for this AdSmith gig here, and it kind of proved a little bit of a problem, but it wasn't a huge deal because it was a free volunteer work for the short film anyways. And I kind of told him like, hey, I kind of like gig this night for that, so it kind of like screwed things up a little bit for them a little bit. I just said a little bit like three times, but yeah, this is a simple shoot. The first day here, we it was just we're in this location the whole time. We are at Great Southern Bank, and we're just shooting a bunch of little snippets of stuff. And yeah, it was real simple. I, you know, sat most of the time, and it was a pretty simple shoot. We just kind of said, "Hey, let's try this," and it was very time specific on like how long the recording had to be. They wanted like a 10-second one, and then they had like options for like a 15-second. So it wasn't like 1 minute type stuff. It was like, let's do this. So the coverage may be like 3 shots the most for a scene. Otherwise, it's either one or two. So yeah, it's pretty interesting dynamic when you kind of like been doing films and longer form type projects, coming to this type of work where it's like real fast, commercial work, literal commercial work, where you just kind of do it real fast, and like things have to be very specific, and they need to make sure like the dialogue is said fast enough where you can just kind of do it within that 10 seconds. So he was using one of the Axtune transmitters, and I was able to connect to it through my phone, which I always like. The passcode, I don't think anyone has ever changed. It's always the default passcode, so I just like activate it and I can watch it myself. I don't really need to watch it because I just kind of, these days, I just kind of ask the DP or the camera person what lens they have, and then I just calculate how wide the frame is from that location since I run camera myself. So it's a little bit simple like that. This last scene here, we did a wider shot here, so I was outside, and they're delegating shots and what to do and how it should look, how fast it should be, and stuff like that. So, you know, real simple stuff, like I said. Day two here, we are at the bank again, but we're at a different location of the bank. Different location, not different location within the bank. It's a different bank location. So we are mostly shooting in this lobby area here and this countertop here, and it's just that was the location the whole time. And we just kind of use like three lights most of the time, and I legitimately sat most of the time. This day was the day where it kind of overlapped the short film that I was a part of, but I was able to be there in the beginning of the day for the short film and then come here because our call time was 4 o'clock here. So we shot for like about 5 hours, and then I went back and helped them for the other thing, which they were basically done by the time I got there. But yeah, I kind of run lives, but it's just one person talking. So I actually ran live for that one person talking this time. The previous day I didn't, just because it was real simple. But this one they were over the counter, so I was like, I'll do this just in case. And I tend to forget about it. And I have a Zoom F3 setting on the side here, being powered through USB-C through the V mount, and I have that recording on a constant basis. So here we are at this. This isn't an actual hospital. This is it kind of is, but this is at the university, and we are filming the short film here. And this is the beginning of the day, where, like I said, I kind of double booked my day for the short film and the at Smith gig. So I came here. They were not expecting me to be here for some reason. I guess I didn't tell them that I'll be there in the beginning portion of the day and then leave. And they were like not expecting me at all, but it helped out a little bit. We didn't do much lighting because they wanted like this bright light, the way it is in the room, and I wasn't able to recreate that, and I don't think they really wanted it that moody, So I just left it the way it was, and that's how it is. Yeah, this was kind of a school project. It kind of like was in between school and not school. The DP he was just using this project. The director and writer is his wife, and she wanted to make something, and he's like, I'll just use this as my school project to finish up. So that's why everything is kind of free, and we just kind of volunteer our time here. It wasn't a big crew, and a lot of our crew would come in and out. I was probably one of the more steady crew, even though this first day I left in the middle of it. But then they didn't really need me anyways because the rest of the shoot, it was kind of during the day. They had a night shoot, and I think they had an idea for that, but then I don't think the DP would have liked what I wanted anyways, because we kind of chat. I was trying to, see what he wanted so they could set it up, but then he's like, we don't need to add lights, we want to remove lights, and I was like, okay, but you're running the Black Magic Ursa, and it's not the greatest in low light, but whatever, he's a DP, and, I'm just a gaffer. Even though I said that, he is less experienced than I am, and that's why they actually wanted me on, so that, I can actually, like, maybe suggest some things that they can learn from as well. But I still need to play my part, and I can't like question their shots, or I would still give him like pointers of maybe how to expose or whatever, like just so we can find the right exposure, because obviously that's kind of part of my job too. I want to make sure everything's exposed properly. So I would do that. So I'm not fully in the dark of the camera side. In fact, there's some camera stuff that they needed from me, like lenses and a wireless monitor, just so they can view it and pull focus. They had some pretty ambitious shots, which unfortunately they'd never practiced, and that kind of frustrated me a little bit because they want to do these shots, but they didn't really know how to do it or to accomplish it, and I had to kind of come in and show them or whatever, I don't know, or just kind of let them do it, and we wasted a little bit of time because of that. So, but this right here, this is the second day. We are at their house, and the first location or scene is in the bedroom, and I was able to block the windows with my ultra bounce there, And then we went to the basement, not basement, the living room here, and most of the day was here, and there wasn't much lighting setup. Most of the setup was actually camera stuff, and for once, lighting wasn't like the one taking up the time. I would kind of set it up and just kind of move things around a little bit here and there. And I just have my 300, now it's a 100 watt there, just with a Fresnel, just kind of bouncing it. And once in a while, I would kind of change the lighting a little bit because like it's a different day or whatever, and I wanted to look different. So yeah, I did that. So there was maybe a little bit waiting, but it wasn't like 30 minutes or we're taking up much time there. But at the end of the night, we went back to the bedroom and we're doing a lot of RGB stuff here. I set up my 6x6 bounce, ultra bounce here because they want like this section here to be super bright and white. So we just shine the light on it to kind of overexpose everything. But we also set up my 6x6 diffusion there for the RGB blue light there, and it worked quite well. The next day was outside. This is the only shot I got. They used my gimbal for the shot because they didn't want to use Steadicam, and gimbal was a little bit simpler. And then the last location, or last day actually, for me specifically, is in this office area here. And we kind of, like I say, again, the DP was like, bring little stuff, but then, I bring everything, but just kind of bring whatever I need for that location. So even though I brought like everything in my car, I didn't use everything. So I would kind of suggest that as much as you can, bring the stuff that you think you'll probably need. And I'd rather have it and not use it than, need it and not have it. So yeah, most of the day was in this office here, and my lighting setup was just, I put my ML60 onto the boom and kind of boomed it. I know that's not a combo stand, I'm sorry. But yeah, and then our shot here, I just put a 300 watt through my 8x8 diffusion there, and that was the main key light. And then with kind of a fill light on the side there, I put my ML30 with a little kind of small China ball type connection there. And my sandbag broke, and I was lucky enough that I put it in a Ziploc bags. So yeah, I would not recommend you buy cheap sandbag bags